So in my last video, I inspected the flywheel, friction disc, and pressure plate, and I was on the fence about replacing them because this is a budget build and everything, but man, I got a crazy deal. Sachs makes a clutch kit for this car that's called a power clutch or something like that. Anyway, it's a performance version, aluminum pressure plate and everything. It's like $1,000. Well, I found an insane deal on eBay, so check this out. Also, I designed that. All right, wow, stoked. This is significantly lighter. In fact, I'm gonna go get the scale. Okay, so you can get a lightened flywheel and that'll help to rev faster and everything, but I feel like this is probably an even better way to lose rotational mass. So I got a digital scale here and I'm just gonna see how much lighter this actually is. It's a lot lighter. So this does have the bearing on it, so I guess I'll just do that. This is 13 pounds, 15 ounces. 10 pounds, 7 ounces. Okay, so not quite 4 pounds, but it still feels pretty significant. Wonder if there's any difference in the friction disc. Probably not. 3 pounds, 8 ounces. That's weird. The actual friction disc is another 5 ounces lighter. Strange. I'm just super geeked about this. I mean, I just can't believe I got the deal on this. I'll put a link in the description. There's a seller in the UK that's selling this kit for around 325 bucks. The cheapest I could find it here in the States was like $600–700. Some places being close to $1,000. So yeah, $325. Oh my God. Great. You're gonna need the clutch alignment tool. It's pretty cheap. It's like $8, piece of plastic. Instead of replacing the flywheel, I just had it machined at a local machine shop, so that was a pretty cheap way to do that. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna press in the new pilot bearing. So while the pilot bearing is getting cold and shrinking, I'm gonna put my attention onto the throwout bearing. So here's the new pressure plate. There's the old steel pressure plate. And what I wanna do is take these new parts and copy this. I am not sure how this goes together, so to the internet. All right, so see this little gap right here? I'm gonna try to pry this ring off here. Not sure I'm using the right tool. Maybe I just need to use a screwdriver. I have no idea how you're supposed to do this. One trick that I was reading was that in order to keep this from spinning, you can put this on the ground, put your knees next to it, and then you can use a screwdriver to try to pry at that. Okay, so by using my knees, I was able to spread this apart, not on camera, and when it sprung back, the this ring, this retention ring, didn't go back into the groove, so I should be able to try to get it out now. There we go. Now that that retention ring is off, we can see how this thing goes together. The ring with the step in it is next. And that step is where that retention ring sits. If I go to my new parts, I'm gonna take the two matching parts, which is this retention ring, spring clip. We're gonna set those aside. That's gonna go in from the top here. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to copy this assembly with my new parts. So it looks like this spring ring, or whatever you call this, it's got like an angle, is going upward. So we're just gonna copy that with a new one, and then under here, there is also a spacer of some kind. So I'm just gonna assume this kit is correct. I'm gonna throw my new bearing here, throw the spacer on it, and to throw that spring clip on it. Now we're gonna take the new pressure plate and the new tension ring and spring ring, and we're gonna try to get this on here. And I don't know how hard that's gonna be yet. Let's see how annoying it gets. Wow, that was a lot easier than getting it off. Doesn't look like it's fully seated yet. Oh, there we go. All right. This feels a little weird, and there's some looseness here. I'm thinking that whoever installed this last didn't assemble it correctly. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna disassemble this and flip that spring washer over and see if it fits better. So this is the way it was installed on my car, but I think it might go the other way. I'm thinking maybe this goes there so that these teeth only touch this nice smooth ring here, spacer ring. And then this smooth part is touching the pressure plate teeth. I think that'll feel a lot better. We'll see. Oh yeah, that's what we wanted. Feels way better. So, that was cool. The whole time I've had this car, the throwout bearing's been assembled wrong. Alright, got an ice cold pilot bearing here. Oh yeah. We're just going to heat up the center of this flywheel a little bit. I don't want to heat it up enough to like affect the metal. I just want it to be a little warm. That looks nice and flush. Good to go. Alright, so one nice thing about reusing the old flywheel is that I don't need to balance everything again. That was one of the reasons I got this resurfaced. This flywheel was balanced with this crankshaft and crank pulley. And if you look at the back of the flywheel here, you can kind of see a faint circle. Probably won't even show up on video, but in between those top two holes, there's a faint circle. And if you look at the end of the crank, there's a drilled out circle right here. So all we need to do is line this up and match that circle, and I'll have reinstalled the flywheel the same way that I took it off. Now, if you were smart and you've done this before, you probably would have marked it somehow, but since I didn't do that and I'm not very smart, I'm just using that circle. So one thing that I did is I just temporarily installed the ring gear on the flywheel. All right, so here's this 6-bolt washer. You can see that these holes aren't exactly even, so you just need to spin it around until it lines up. That looks pretty good. All right, so before we torque these, I'm just gonna put in the flywheel lock. I have this set to 30 foot-pounds. All right, so after the initial torque to 30 foot-pounds, I do want to say that these bolts are all torqued to yield, so they're single use. So these are brand new bolts. You install them dry. If you're going to build a race motor that sees 8,000 RPM on a regular basis, then maybe put in some Loctite, but I'm not doing that. The factory torque spec is 110 foot-pounds, but we're just going to get there a little bit at a time just to help seat this really evenly. So here's 50 foot-pounds. Here's 75 foot-pounds. Oh no. My tool is disintegrating. And this bolt is a little fucked up. This one bolt head is okay on a lot of the teeth, but a couple of them rounded off because this tool is disintegrating. I don't know if you can see this, but this is a 12-point. I don't know what brand it is. I don't even remember where I bought this. But I think I need an M12 12-point that's not made of Chinesium. I think I need like a real one because I really don't want these to back off. Okay, so I had to put a pause on this clutch install. I'm not sure if you're gonna be able to see this, but the splines on this Chinesium bit here just started bending and disintegrating. And what that did is it messed up some of the teeth on my flywheel bolt just on this one. So what I did is I quit working and I bought a set of tools on Amazon. I tried to find some that looked hardened. These are impact rated, so they should be quite a bit tougher on these splines, and I think I'm gonna be able to put the rest of these bolts in this flywheel. I think what I'm gonna do to make sure this seats is try to tap this in here. Alright, that seems nice and solid. Final torque spec is 110 foot-pounds. Alright, there we go. Flywheel bolts, torque to spec. Managed to salvage this a little bit, so that's fine. Alright, since the flywheel is still locked, it's good practice to tighten this pulley bolt. I haven't actually officially tightened it yet, so we're going to torque it to spec. The weird thing is that the torque spec is different for this based on cars that have AC or not AC. It's 60 foot-pounds for no AC and 120 foot-pounds for AC, so literally double. This car did have AC, but that seems weird to me that it's double, so I'm just gonna go with 60 initially, see how that feels. And that seems pretty weak, so, alright. There we go. 120 foot-pounds. I don't think that's going anywhere. Before I put the clutch disc on, I just want to wipe down the flywheel with some brake clean to get off any oils that might have been on there just from handling it. Alright, so this engine stand is hollow, which is kind of cool, so then you can do this. And now I have the clutch disc and the pressure plate and the ring gear all in one assembly here. Then I'm going to take the clutch alignment tool and try to find the clutch disc. There we go. So these pressure plate to flywheel bolts should be tightened to 17 foot-pounds. Alright, so now that that's torqued up, I should be able to remove this alignment pin, and the clutch disc should go nowhere. Alright, that about wraps up the clutch install. I do think it's hilarious that the entire time I've owned the car, the throwout bearing has been assembled wrong, so that's kind of par for the course on this project so far. Whoever worked on this before me was, I don't know how they got to work on this car. But if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. Otherwise, stay tuned and I'll see you next time. Cheers.